You may be seated. Please remain quiet.
We have an objection on the floor.
Because I believe the answer would have to be very clear
Your Honor,
she was told.
Your Honor, at this point, it is not offered for the truth of the matter, so that the evidence in this case will reveal that this witness, Detective Williams, had information from Sabrena Bates that the defendant, who they are looking for as a person of interest, has vanished as of the morning of May 25th between 9 and 10 a.m., the morning of the shooting, never to return to this location again.
I don't believe that's true either.
Well, that led into her investigation as to deploying manpower to find this defendant and canvassing the neighborhood and looking all over the city and taking tips.
So your position is that it's not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted, but to explain the next steps that the officer took in this particular case?
Yes.
Court is going to sustain the objection at this time.
Thank you, Judge.
We can bring the jury back up.
All right.
All right.
Jury, please.
May I have a seat?
Okay, we're back on the record. We are going to interrupt the testimony of Sergeant Williams?
Detective
Williams at this time. There's another matter that the court needs to address relative to this case, so I'm going to excuse you from the stand.
Yes, ma'am.
And APA Powell, you've indicated that one of the witnesses, Sabrena Bates, is now present.
That's right. I haven't personally seen her. The deputies were kind enough to let me know that she's arrived. I'm not sure under what circumstances she's here. I would like to find that out.
We can go off the record and you can determine what's going on with that particular witness.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Back on the record on people versus Devon Robinson, Kansas, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. May it please the court, Jenny Powell Horowitz for the people.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Evan Callahan on behalf of the
Madam Prosecutor, the people requested that the court issue a bench warrant for the failure of Ms. Sabrena Bates to appear.
Your Honor, Ms. Bates has appeared. I would ask that the court set it aside at this time.
The court will recall that warrant and set it aside. We currently have Ms. Bates present in the courtroom. We're going to interrupt the testimony of Detective Williams and take the testimony of Ms. Bates. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and call your next witness.
People call Sabrena Bates.
Please spell your first and last name for the record for me, please.
S-A-B-R-E-N-A-B-A-T-E-N.
Raise your right hand for me, please. Do solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll bring a jury up. All rise for the jury, please. You may be seated and remain quiet, please. are interrupting the testimony of Detective Williams so that we can have another witness testify. She's already been sworn. Madam Prosecutor, proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hi,
Could you state your name for the record, please?
Sabrena Bates.
All right, Ms. Bates, are you familiar with 3440 Buckingham in the city?
Yes,
How are you familiar with that location?
I live there.
Did you live there back in May of 2019 with a woman by the name of Marilyn Robinson? Mallory Robinson, I apologize.
Yes.
How do you know Mallory Robinson?
From being associated with my aunt. My aunt stays right next door.
And do you know Devon Robinson?
Yes,
Do you see Mr. Robinson in the court?
yes.
For the record, could you please indicate where he is seated and what he's wearing?
He's wearing black and white. He's sitting in front of the table.
In order to let the record reflect, the witnesses have identified the defendant in this case, Mr. Robinson.
The record will reflect.
Ms. Bates, did you come into a contact with a Sergeant Duplessis back on May 28th of 2019?
Yes,
And did you speak with Sergeant Duplessis?
yes,
Did you talk to him about the last time that you had seen Devon Robinson?
yes.
And did you tell him that that was a Saturday?
I ain't say what day it was. I just said he got up, took a shower, and he left and had his backpack.
And then we just went over your statement in the witness room, is that correct?
Yes,
And you acknowledge that your statement was truthful, is that
yes.
correct? Would your statement refresh your recollection as to what you said back on May 28th?
I said he got up because I didn't see him when I got off work and came home. When I woke up, he was sleeping on the couch. He got up, took a shower, played with the kids, ate breakfast, and left like he always do.
And my question is, did you tell Sergeant Duplessis when you talked to him on Tuesday, May 28th, that the last time that you had seen the defendant was Saturday morning between 9 and 10 a.m.?
I told him the same thing I just told you. I said he got up when I woke up, he was still asleep. He got up, took a shower, ate, said something to the kids, and he left.
Ma'am, but the day, did you tell him that it was Saturday?
I can't remember if I said Saturday or Friday.
Did you testify earlier in this matter? Did you testify at a preliminary exam in this case? You and I have met before, haven't we?
Yes,
And you testified at a former proceeding, is that correct?
yes,
And we went through this statement in front of another judge, is that correct?
yes,
And did you swear to tell the truth at that point?
yes, and that's what I'm doing.
Referring to page 63, line 6, do you recall when I asked you, do you remember telling the police that Devon moved out on Saturday? And your answer first time was, I can't really remember. Do you remember that?
No, I said he didn't move out because all he did was got up, took a shower, played with the kids, ate, and left. I didn't say he had no suitcase, he was moving no furniture.
Ben, do you remember your testimony at the prior hearing? Would you like to see a transcript?
I'm saying truthfully what I said and
Ma'am.
what I seen.
Ms. Bates?
I
Ms.
can't.
Bates, Ms. Bates,
Yes.
Ms. Bates, you have to listen to the questions that are posed to you. Would
Okay.
you like to see your statement?
Yes.
We're going to start with your written statement. I'm going to give you a copy of it, and I'm also going to give you a copy of the transcript, okay?
And you may approach the witness.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Bates, handing you your May 28th statement to Sergeant Duplessis, handing you page 63 of your exam testimony, which includes lines 6 through 9. All right, let's start with your statement again. And let me know when you've had an opportunity to look at the first page.
Well, I think the witness should be given the courtesy of,
I do too. Let's have her look at one thing at a time. So are you going to question her regarding her statement first?
Yes, Your Honor, we're going to start with the statement.
So Ms. Bates, why don't you take the opportunity to review your statement first?
That's
the
this
request
right
that should
here.
be given page 61 of the transcript as well.
I did.
So what page am I looking at?
Let's start with the first page of your written statement.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay, Ms. Bates? Ms. Bates,
Yes.
look at me. When we were just in that witness room with Sergeant
Yes.
Duplessis,
Yes.
did I go over your statement with you?
Yes.
Ma'am, did Sergeant Duplessis actually give you his glasses so that you could read your statement?
Yes.
And did we go through it line by line?
Yes. And I also said some things that was on here that I said it was different.
When was that, ma'am?
When you asked me, did I say that they moved out? I say no. She took a suitcase because her family was sick and she took the kids with her.
And when you say she, you're talking about Miss Robinson.
Yes.
And you said that she moved out on Sunday, is that correct?
I
Or was
never
she left
said
on
she-
Sunday with a suitcase? Is that what you said?
Yes, that's all I said.
Very good. All right, and that her son, Devon, had left the day before on Saturday.
All I said was when I woke up, I can't tell you if it was Friday or Saturday. When I woke up, he was asleep, got up, took a shower, ate, played with the kids, and left.
All right, the night of the shooting, where were you?
I never heard no shots because when I get off work, I work 12 hours at Chrysler and 4. When I get up and when I go to sleep, I'll sleep to the next day. I never heard
Ma'am,
no
that wasn't
shooting.
the question that was posed to you. Madam Prosecutor, perhaps if you give her the specific date.
Going back to May 25th, Saturday, where were you on Saturday, May 25th?
At
During the
work.
evening hours.
At work
What hours did you work on May 25th?
from 4 in the morning, and I get off to about 4, and I walk from Chrysler to home. So it take me about till 5 or 6 to get home.
Ma'am, did I just talk to you in front of Sergeant Duplessis in the witness room?
Yes.
And did you indicate to me that you were sleeping all night when this happened?
I said when I go to sleep, I sleep all night.
Did I ask you about whether or not you were the shooter in this case?
I said I didn't hear no
Ma'am.
shots.
Ma'am, that's not the question that was posed to you.
What
You're
it-
being
what-
unresponsive.
what is she saying?
No, you're not gonna ask me questions either, okay?
Okay.
That's not what we're gonna do here.
Ma'am, do you know that you're here for a triple homicide?
Yes.
Do you know who was killed in this case?
No.
This is not the first time you've testified.
No, I don't. I don't know who was killed, and I don't know who killed nobody.
Did you commit a homicide?
No, I did not.
Did you leave 3440 Buckingham?
Did I what?
Did you leave your home on Buckingham on May 25th in the early morning hours and commit a homicide?
No, I did not even leave, period, until I got ready for work again.
So you didn't leave the night of the murder. You stayed in your house.
Yes, I slept all night.
Okay. And do you remember talking to Sergeant Duplessis? I'm going to ask you one more time.
I
Ma'am?
remember talking to him the next day when they was looking for him.
You remember talking to Sergeant Duplessis? Ma'am, look at me. I'm asking you questions.
I just said I remember when he asked me questions when they were looking for him.
And did you tell Sergeant Duplessis that you had not seen the defendant since he left Saturday morning between
Yes,
9
I did.
Thank you. Did you also tell Sergeant Duplessis that you had seen Devon on the news?
Yes,
When did
because
you-
I did.
Okay. And were you asked whether or not you had seen the defendant between the time he left Saturday morning and the time that you were interviewed on May 28th?
No, I didn't.
You had not seen the
I
defendant.
had not seen him.
What about Miss Robinson?
I don't know. She wasn't there.
She had moved or taken a suitcase on Sunday. Did two
Is that a
individuals?
yes, ma'am? You have it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Did two individuals ever come to the house after you talked to Sergeant Duplessis on the 28th and come to get clothing for Mr. Robinson?
No.
Two scraggly individuals never came to your house getting clothing for the defendant, Mr. Robinson, in this case?
No.
Did you talk to Sergeant Duplessis a second time?
Yeah.
Do you know when that was?
And he said,
You
remember?
cannot testify to what he said. Listen to the question that's being posed to you and respond to that
Okay,
question, Ms. Bates.
I asked that question again.
Did you talk to Sergeant Duplessis a second time after May 28th?
Yes.
And did you tell him that two scraggly individuals came to pick up clothes for Devon Robinson?
Yes.
Now, your cell phone in this case, when you talked to Sergeant Duplessis on May 28th, the statement that you have in your hand, did you tell Sergeant Duplessis that Devon Robinson had been using your phone for about a week?
Yes.
Right, and that you found it again on Saturday after he was gone?
It was on the couch.
You called it and found it on the couch
Yes.
on Saturday?
Yes.
And that it had been used by Devon Robinson the week before and you had been missing it?
Yes.
Did you give that phone to the police?
Yes.
Did they give it back to you?
Yes.
What is the phone number for that phone?
I can't even remember. It's on here though.
I'm going to refer you to the second page of your statement. want you to look at the bottom line, and if that refreshes your recollection as to your phone number, please let me know.
Yes, it was.
What was that phone number, ma'am?
5.
Was that 313-264-4649?
Oh, yes. 264-4649. Yes, please.
Is there an objection, Attorney Callahan?
I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's the telephone number that corresponds with Exhibit 19?
Ma'am, you still live on Buckingham?
No,
Where do you live now? Don't give me a street, what area of the city?
DeQuinder and 8 Mile.
You were here yesterday with the defendant's mother, is that correct?
No, I came by myself with my boyfriend.
But you sat with Miss Robinson out in the hallway?
Yes. She
And-
sat on my bench. I sat on something. I mean, we kept getting up, so
How long did you continue to live at Buckingham after the defendant and his mother left?
I moved to like a month later.
And the defendant also has other family members on that street, is that correct?
I don't know if
Do you have family members in the courtroom today?
no, my aunt
Do you
is at
know?
work.
I apologize, go ahead.
My aunt is at work. She stayed right next door to Mary.
Thank you, nothing further.
Cross-examination. Well, before you proceed, Attorney Callahan, would you like to retrieve the statement
Sure, Judge.
from this witness? Thank you. Whenever you're ready, Attorney Callahan.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Bates,
Yeah,
if I heard you say it once, I've heard it 10 times. You woke up, you saw the defendant sleeping on the couch, right?
yes,
He got up, he took a shower, and he left, correct?
yes,
Is that the truth?
yes,
All right, and we have had some conversation about moving out of our house. Isn't it true?
I never
that-
said he
isn't-
moved.
Ma'am, you have to
Isn't it
wait
true?
until,
Isn't
Attorney
it
Callahan,
true?
Attorney Callahan, just one moment. Ma'am, I need you to wait until the question is posed to you before you start answering, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Attorney Callahan.
Isn't it true that that home had an appointment for defumigation?
Yes,
And there were bed bugs in that home, right?
yes.
And if you know, isn't that why Mallory left?
Yeah, that and she was helping somebody
There's-
in her family.
Okay, ma'am, there's an objection on the floor. What's the objection?
Calls for hearsay and assumes facts not in evidence.
He asked her if she knew.
Thank you.
Okay, so the court's gonna overrule your objection. You wanna ask the question again?
Yeah. There was an appointment for fumigation because of bed bugs, right?
Yes,
All right, and the leave was just temporary, wasn't it?
yes.
All right, and Devon, did Devon actually ever reside there?
No,
All right. But he would stay a couple days at a
Yeah,
time and then
yeah.
go somewhere else, right?
right.
And Devon's not the only male that would stay at that house from time to time, right?
Right,
Your boyfriend would stay there, correct?
yes,
And there were other men that would stay there from time to time?
no,
No? So it was at least Devon, your boyfriend, and who else?
and Tim might come over and visit, but he wouldn't stay there. Or Victor or somebody like that.
Ma'am, do you know, an individual by the name of Dana Gaskin and her boyfriend?
Yes,
And they stayed at the house as well, correct?
yes.
And would they have been there, May 25th of, last year?
Yes.
Right, nothing further.
Redirect.
Ms. Bates, you have a better memory for Mr. Callahan than you do for me. Is that correct?
Counselor, that's argumentative.
That is argument.
Fair enough.
I don't understand what you're
You
saying.
don't have to respond to that question.
Oh.
Ms. Bates, you don't understand what I'm saying right now? Did you understand that everything Mr. Callahan just asked you?
Yeah, because he asked me in a slow way I could understand and talk at the same time.
Back on May 28th, when you talked to Sergeant Duplessis, you didn't tell him that there was a fumigation appointment, and that's why everyone left, did you?
Because when she left, I knew they made the order for the fumigation. But when she left, somebody in her family got sick. So her and the kids left early before the fumigation. People supposed that came. It was like a day later.
Ms. Bates, did you convey any of this information to the police back when this happened?
No. Because when she left, she was leaving to go take care of some people in her family.
Ms. Bates, my question is, did you tell that to the police when you talked to them?
I said I did not.
And thank you. You don't have to respond any further.
Ms. Bates, was there anyone living in that house with you on 3440 Buckingham back on May 25th that received oral sex from many individuals over on Devonshire that evening?
I don't know anyone live on Devonshire. All I know is the man that lived in the house.
Do you know of anyone in that house that had engaged in oral sex with 3 people on Devonshire?
Judge, I'm
That's a
going to
yes or no.
object.
What's your objection?
I'm trying to, it's irrelevant.
It's certainly not irrelevant. The argument is that somebody else in that house left to do the shooting. Is there somebody else in that house that has
Well,
motive?
that's-
I'd like to
Oh,
know.
wait, she's assuming.
Okay, so now I'm talking. Okay, so, Madam Prosecutor, I understand what your theory of the case is. I believe that it would be speculation on the part of this witness to respond to your question. So I'm gonna sustain the objection. You don't have to answer that. I don't know how she would know that. You haven't laid the foundation.
If she knows the same way she would know about the
Okay, so
fumigation.
if she knows.
If you know, ma'am, is there anybody in that house that received oral sex from multiple individuals on Devonshire on May 25th?
No, I don't.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Nothing
Anything
further.
additional? Ma'am, you are thanked and excused.
Thank you.
Are we going to go back to Detective Williams'
That's the
testimony
plan.
at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you need to get any, how much longer is her testimony gonna be?
I do think it'll be a few hours. There's multiple exhibits, there's calls that we're gonna be putting in. I will say, Your Honor, in terms of scheduling tomorrow, it will just be finishing up with this witness, and then we have the firearms expert, DNA, and fingerprints. So it will be quick after she's done.
And that's fine, I'm just looking at the time. I want to be able to kind of wrap a certain portion of her testimony up before we break for today. Is that going to be possible?
We will not be able to finish her today.
I know we won't be able to finish it, but there are certain points I'm sure that you're trying to make with this particular witness.
We can get to some of those, yes.
Okay, and so we'll be able to finish that by about 3:55.
I'll break whenever you tell me.
Well, we're gonna have to break very close to 4 o'clock because, well,
Yep.
because you know.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you very much. You can recall Detective Williams. Detective Williams, you're still under oath?
I am, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes.
I'm reminding you that you are.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Madam Prosecutor, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. Detective Williams, you've been sitting here at this table and you've been on your phone a lot during this case.
Yes,
For the jury, are you disinterested in this case?
not at all.
Why are you constantly texting and going out into the hallway? What is part of your job as the officer in charge?
What's the objection? That it's not relevant?
It's not relevant.
It is relevant. I don't want the jury to think this officer's been sitting here texting all day and not caring about this case.
Okay, well, fine.
Thank you.
There we go. Overruled.
Ma'am, as the officer in charge, what are your duties in this case?
So, I'm in charge thus of everything right now. I'm handling 60 witnesses, trying to make sure that they come to court, get to court, possibly get cab rides. If anything possibly comes up with the prosecution or that possible defense counsel needs, it's my job to make sure that it gets here. Also, there's other cases that I am in charge of that somebody may be standing in for me on another court at the time if they have a certain question or something like that, and they're standing in for me. I have to provide them with those answers. So my job as the OIC does not stop until there's actually a verdict once in the case, because I still have duties that I'm in charge of while the trial is going on.
All right, in this case, you made the scene at 3474 Devonshire,
Yes,
and as part of your duties as the officer in charge, is it your job to collect evidence in this case? Or not to collect, but to make sure that evidence is collected in this case and that it gets to the Michigan State Police Lab.
yes,
And you did go to the scene in this case?
I did.
Mr. Alder, I'm going to ask that you pull up admitted number 6, please. In admitted number 6, are there placards in the house?
There are.
All right, moving on to 7. Again, are there yellow placards?
Yes,
8. 9. Yellow placards again,
yes,
and 11. Thank you. Those placards, do those represent casings and bullet fragments in this case?
yes.
Do they represent anything else?
Cell phones, possible blood spatter.
You took a lot of evidence in this case.
Yes,
Did you do a lot of cell phone searches in this case?
yes,
Were they done for Blair in this case?
yes,
Lance Atterbury?
yes,
Brendan Settles, did he have a phone in this case?
he did.
And the defendant, did you look for a phone for the defendant?
I did.
And were you able to, through your investigation, determine whether or not defendant had use of a handset in this case?
I was.
Tell me about that.
That was the phone that Sabrena Briggs turned over to us.
And that was the subject of the exhibit where we had the calls, the times regarding the cabs and the defendant's mother?
Yes.
All right, why do you do that?
As far as to do the phone extractions?
Yes.
Because there's always information possibly that you could be looking for on the phone. It's possible that there could be videos, text messages, or other information. Sometimes people might search a crime. So there's just different things that might help you either right then at that moment or later on in your investigation.
Okay, so the phone as to Sabrena Bates it was actually looked at and returned to her.
Yes.
Now, the items of evidence in this case that were taken from the scene, those were all delivered to the state police, is that correct?
Not all of them. Like the cell phones, for example, those cell phones extractions were done. They did not have to go to the state police. They went to a detective in major crimes to do the forensic analysis.
Do you keep those local at DPD?
Yes.
All right. And if there is anything of use on them, use that in your investigation?
Yes.
Did you have any cell phones in this case that were of use in your investigation?
Just the one that we recovered from Sabrena Bates.
No other information pertinent to this case?
Correct.
All right. Did you have any information that the defendant had come into contact with these individuals before this date of May 25th?
It was stated, I believe, by Armand Matthews. I believe that he may have recognized him from school.
Any of the other individuals, any nexus between them and the defendant?
No.
In this case, there were bodies that were, a post-mortem exam was done at the morgue. There was a testimony from the medical examiner in this case.
Yes.
Were fragments from the bodies taken to the morgue?
So the bodies were taken from the morgue, and then during the post-mortem exam, they took out some fragments or slugs from some individuals.
And did you make sure those items got to the state police?
I did.
Showing you 34 and 35. You recognize these exhibits, please tell me what they are.
Oh, okay, so Exhibit 34 are bullet fragments recovered from the body of Alunte Davis during the autopsy performed by Dr. Gupta.
35.
35 is a bullet fragment recovered from Paris Cameron.
All right, and as to the scene, there were items of evidence taken, and I take those back, that were indicated on those placards. We're gonna start with 29, do you recognize 29? And Your Honor, if I did not move for the admission of, I'm moving for the admission of 34 and 35.
Any objection?
No
Any-
objection.
You wanna see them?
No, what I wanna see is the exhibit list. I mean, mine goes to
No,
27.
they're not on the exhibit list, I got the patent later. I couldn't mark them.
So councilors, are there some things that you all need to address before we proceed further?
No, Your Honor, these are all in the evidence tech reports. They are labeled as is per our policy. We don't bring these down until the day of trial.
I believe that the issue that Attorney Callahan is having, and likely the same issue that the court addressed earlier, was that there's an exhibit list that does not appear to be complete. Mine stops at 27, but yet here we are at exhibit 34 and 35.
Your Honor, because of the course of the case, I've decided to admit these items into evidence so we have them physically represented as opposed to just testimony.
Okay, and that's fine, but the
I
list is
understand.
incomplete. Okay, but the court at this time will admit exhibit 34 and 35.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And is there any way that you can let Attorney Callahan know what other exhibits that they're going to be?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. You've done that at this time,
And before.
and you can proceed.
Thank you. I'm sorry, what do you have in your hand, Detective?
No, it's exhibit 29.
What is that?
It's 8 9mm fired shell casings, placards 1 through 8.
Those were collected from the scene.
Yes, ma'am.
Move for the admission, Your Honor.
Any objection?
Objection.
Exhibit 29 is admitted.
29, you say?
29.
Yes, 29.
30. Please tell me if you recognize 30, 31, and 32.
30 is a fired bullet recovered from underneath the decedent, number 1, unmarked item number 30. Exhibit 31, bullet fragments from the remains of Timothy Blancher, recovered from the autopsy performed on by Dr. Gupta.
32.
Fired shell casing from underclothes in the dining room.
37.
1 fired bullet, placard number 9.
Thank you. Mr. Callahan made some questions to Brendan Settles today regarding Paris's boyfriend. Do you recall those questions?
Yes.
Okay, as part of your duties as the officer in charge, and I did not move for the admission.
You did not, so do you want to have exhibits 29, 30, 31, 32, and 37 admitted?
I do, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection.
They're admitted.
All right, going back to Paris's boyfriend in this case, did you make some inquiry as to whether or not Paris had a boyfriend?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Because after reading Brendan's statement, there was a discussion about a possible disagreement that happened earlier on in the evening, and I just wanted to follow up on that.
Did you follow up?
I attempted to.
When was that you tried to follow up?
I made contact with some family members trying to get the name of the individual. So within that same week.
So when you're doing an investigation, do you try to eliminate
Yes.
persons? As part of your investigation,
Yes.
you're getting as much information as you can about who was there?
Yes.
And you tried to follow up regarding Paris's boyfriend. What was his name?
I believe Kirk Tatum.
Would your document refresh your recollection?
It would.
Did you provide to me a picture today with a name?
Yes.
And Mr. Callahan, you have seen this?
Yes.
Approaching with 37. What is the name?
Kirk Tatum.
And Kirk Tatum was the individual that you were looking at because his name came up during this case.
Yes.
All right. Can I move for the admission, Your Honor?
Well, exhibit 37 was listed as one fired bullet from placard number 9. What is this?
Mislabeled.
So what exhibit number is that going to be?
38, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any objection? Attorney Callahan,
Publish to the jury.
and is that minute you may publish?
Looking at number 38. Who is that?
Kirk Tatum?
And is this the individual that you had information about, had been at the house at Devonshire with Paris earlier in that evening?
Yes.
Were you able to follow up with this individual?
I was not.
Why not?
He was deceased.
Okay, and does he have the same complexion as the defendant in the courtroom?
No, he does not.
Did you have any information, did you try to eliminate this person from your scene?
Yes.
How do you do that?
We can do it by checking, for example, cell phone records.
Did this defendant, or did this person that you were looking at have a cell phone that was active?
He did.
As part of your investigation, did you look into that?
I did.
Were you able to determine a location for him?
That his cellular device was in the area about 10 o'clock p.m. and then
10 o'clock p.m. on Devonshire.
10 o'clock p.m. on Devonshire on the...
Object, this is based on hearsay.
Your Honor, she's the investigator in the case. She conducts the investigation. She has to eliminate suspects or include suspects. This is part of her investigation. Mr. Callahan specifically asked questions of Brendan Settles,
She's talking about
intimating
phone
that there was
records.
someone
Okay, so
else.
this
in
is
her
what we're gonna do.
profile.
We're gonna let the jury step out, and please take this picture down. And you all can make a record with regard to this particular issue. All rise for the jury, please. Can you see it and very quiet? Attorney Callahan, your objection to this testimony is that it is hearsay. Can you let me finish talking before you start talking? Okay, so your objection is hearsay.
Yes.
Madam Prosecutor?
Your Honor, at this point, this is the investigator in charge of the case. It is her duty during her investigation to include or eliminate suspects. This is part of the investigation that she looked into these records and confirmed that this person was not in the area at the time. She can't interview him because he's deceased. She can, however, through her investigation, look at the phone records and make a decision. So it tells why she was able to eliminate him. And this is really relevant because the defendant...
I haven't said it's not relevant. I understand that the defendant has questioned extensively on the issue of Paris having a boyfriend, the boyfriend being at the home, asking for money, looking for the purse, and perhaps suggesting that that person would be possibly a suspect with regard to this particular case. The court is going to overrule the objection and allow this line of testimony. And then we're going to have to finish with this.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this will be the last questions that are asked with regard to this particular issue. It is 3:55.
Yes, ma'am.
Bring the jury back out.
All rise for the jury. You may.
Maybe seated. Only use that is questioning of Detective Williams.
Thank you, Judge. Were efforts made to determine whether or not Paris's boyfriend was in the area at the time of the shooting?
Yes.
Was that done through phone records associated with the boyfriend?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So there was a search warrant done on those records, and there was a call around 10 p.m. and a call around 10 p.m. on May 24th and a call around 12:03 a.m. on May 25th. At the time, those calls were hitting off a cell phone tower that would have been servicing in the Devonshire area. At 1:16 a.m., the next call was servicing a tower on the west side of Detroit. I believe it was a Grand River Southfield area. And then the next call did not come through until the morning, like 9 or 10 a.m.
Paris's boyfriend didn't live on Buckingham, did he?
No.
I believe the court wanted us to end with this question.
Yes. We're going to conclude testimony for today. I'm going to ask the jury to return tomorrow at 9:30 again. I do appreciate you being here on time. I'm going to allow you an opportunity to go into the jury room and gather your belongings, and we'll let you know when you can exit the courtroom.
All rise for the jury.
We will resume tomorrow at 9:30 and continue the testimony of Detective Williams. We're adjourned for the day. The people who are in the gallery, please exit the courtroom expeditiously. The jury will not be able to leave until you leave.